Hey there, welcome back. And I recently posted this animation on Reddit and you guys absolutely loved it. So here's your tutorial for it. I hope you guys are ready. So let's get right into it. All right, so let's start with opening a new scene here. So we'll go to File, New, and just General, and just click on A, delete everything. Let me switch on my screencast keys. One of these days I'll remember to do it before the video. But yeah, basically now we're gonna go ahead and add an icosphere here and make sure that we give it 4 subdivisions, right? And let's right click and shade smooth. And yeah, that's all we're going to do as far as the object goes. The rest, everything else is procedural, and we're going to go ahead and create that animation just by using modifiers, right? So and just a quick note that most of the numbers that I'm going to use here, I settled on those after a lot of experimentation. Now again, you guys feel free to go ahead and experiment with it, and different numbers will probably give you different results, right? So the very first thing that we'll add here is a subdivision surface modifier, and let's keep it to one subdivision. And the next one that we'll add here would be a decimate modifier. Now it doesn't make a lot of sense for adding this for an icosphere, but trust me that this will help you when you're actually working with objects that are different than a sphere, right? So I want to make a setup that is viable for any object that you apply these modifier setup to. So that's why we're going to go ahead and add this decimate modifier, and instead of collapse we're going to select unsubdivide and put 5 iterations here. The next one that we'll go ahead and add, it would be wireframe modifier, right? So as soon as we add that, we get our wireframe right here. So yeah, we add our wireframe modifier here. I'm going to increase the thickness to 0.06 and offset to 1. And can you see this replace original? Just going to uncheck that, right? And yeah, once we are done with this, the next modifier that we add to our stack would be a displace modifier, which is actually going to create our animation in the first place. So once we have this, let's click on new and just make sure that we are reducing the strength to 0.25 and the mid-level to 0.2, right? Because that worked well for me. So yeah, once you're done with that, can you for the textures, just click on new. And once you have that, just click on these show texture in the texture tab, these two bars stacked up each other, and you go to the texture settings, right? Or you can just simply click on this option here. So to go ahead and add the texture, the one that we're going to use in this tutorial is distorted noise. Now again, you guys feel free to experiment with the other textures that are in here. Different textures are going to give you different results, right? So distorted noise, and for noise bases, I'm going to use improved Perlin, and distortion, I'll also use improved Perlin again, right? And the amount that I'm going to go with is 1, so I won't change that. The size though, I'll change it to 0.8, right? And once I've done that, the next thing that I'll go ahead and update is the brightness and the contrast. So the brightness, I'm going to go ahead and increase it to 1.1. And the contrast, I'll reduce it to 0.7, right? Now you can see it's already taking shape and already has that kind of effect. And yeah, just make sure you check the color ramp. Now, why are we checking the color ramp? Because we are basically not going to do anything with the color ramp, right? We are not going to slide anything over here. Although you can, the more you do that, the more sharper your fall or your displacement is going to be. But the reason I want to check it is because if you see right here, if you check it and when you uncheck it, the difference, right? So it becomes slightly more darker, and that's what the effect that I want. Now, once we are done with that, the last modifier that I'm going to add in the stack is a subdivision surface modifier once again. Now, this modifier is just there to basically give the wireframe that rounded shape. Now it's probably gonna take up a lot of your processing power. So if you when you add that, and if you have a computer that cannot handle these kind of processing, just make sure that you are unchecking or hiding the other modifiers from your viewport, just so that it's a little bit easier on your computer to handle this, right? So let me switch it on again. It's just gonna take a second to come back. Okay. So now the next thing that we're gonna do is we will add the textures that actually gives it that effect, right? Having a glowing ball inside and cage that's covering it. So we're gonna create both of those. But before we get into the texture, just go back to your wireframe. And can you see wireframe modifier? And can you see this material offset? Just make sure that it's set to 1. This will ensure that we have the opportunity to add two different materials to our core inside and the cage outside, right? So wireframe will have a separate material than what is there for the original object. While I'm actually working with the textures, I'm going to go ahead and disable every other modifier except for wireframe, just to make sure that I have it's slowing down my computer a little less, because trust me, if you keep it on, you won't be able to work. So once we are done with that, let's go to the shader editor, or I can just bring it up here just by dragging it up. And let's open the shader editor, right? So the very first thing I'll do is I'll add a new texture. Now go to your material properties here and add a second texture here, and that will be the texture for a wireframe, right? So I'll hit new again, and let's name it wireframe, and let's make it really dark. In addition to that, we are also gonna go ahead and make it metallic, and just bring up the specularity as well. And maybe you can play with the roughness depending on how you like it. So that's it for the wireframe out there. That's all we're going to use for the material. And then we are going to go ahead and hide our wireframe modifier and just make sure that we work on the internal ball here, right? So let's select the first material and let's name it core. And for this one, I'm going to go ahead and delete the principal BSDF. And let's go ahead and add an emission shader in here, if I can type emission. Okay, and let's duplicate it, and we're gonna go ahead and mix them up with a mix shader, right? Let's take the shader and let's plug it into the surface, and let's plug this emission shader into the top part of it, and this one in the bottom. Now the bottom one, I'm gonna keep the strength to 2, and the top one, I'm gonna increase it to 10. And also make sure that I have ambient inclusion, bloom, and screen space reflections switched on. Now, still not giving us any prominent effect, and the reason for that is that we have to do some more changes in here. I'm just gonna go ahead and make a little bit, I change the color in them a little bit so that we can differentiate between both of those, right? And let's go ahead and add a color ramp in our scene. I'll take the color input of the color ramp and add it to the factor. And also we'll add a layer weight node and take the facing output of the layer weight node and add it to the factor of our color ramp, right? So as soon as we do that, now we have this slight effect that is showing us darker core inside and a lighter color outside, right? And you can play with these two settings here. I'm just gonna go ahead and flip the color ramp because I want the darker part to be outside. And let's bring black somewhere closer to the white, and let's keep the white towards the end, right? But right now the way it's looking, I don't quite like it, is because it's like plain round shape, right? So to give it a little bit more noise into it, we're gonna go ahead and add a noise texture, and we'll take the factor of the noise texture and just plug it into the blend of the layer weight. And once you do that, can you see that it's already giving you that interesting shape? So I'm gonna increase the scale to 3 because I don't want reduce the scale to 3 because I don't want a lot of noise showing up here. And also go ahead and increase the details to 16 and add a little bit of distortion of like 0.1, right? And as soon as I do that, our internal core is ready. There's nothing else that we need to do in this. And for the external one, we already have the wireframe set up, which looks like this. Now the next part that we are actually going to do will be to go ahead and animate our texture that we just created, right? In order to animate that, all we got to do is come to our displace modifier here, and let's go ahead and switch the coordinates from local uh, to object. And to animate this, we're gonna go ahead and add an empty in here. So I'll add a plane axis, and let's bring this to the side a little bit. We are going to use this empty to animate our texture, right? So in the displace modifier, let's quickly select the empty in the object space here, and let's go back to the empty and go to our timeline, which is right here. Go to frame 1, right click, insert keyframe. Now we're going to go to frame 251, and we will add, so these are the numbers that I went with. Again, feel free to experiment with this. So we've got I went with 45 for the x-axis, 45 for the z-axis, and 22.5 for the y-axis, right? And that worked pretty well for me. So now the texture is animated. As you can see, it's already giving you that effect. And yeah, just go back to the object and just switch on your subdivision, the second subdivision as well, right? So now it's giving you the effect of that thickly coated wired skin that the object has, and it's automatically going to go ahead and add that distortion to it whenever you play that, right? So that's pretty much it. The next, basically the only things that are missing from this is the lighting that I added. I'm just gonna show it to you guys in case you want to know. So the first light that I added here was the area lamp, and I just move it back and move it to the side a little bit because the light was coming from the side, and I'll just make sure I rotate it minus 90 degrees on the x-axis and increase the size of the light to about 2.8 meters and increase the brightness to about 1000, right? And then I added another point light and just moved it a little bit further and a little bit to the side on the x-axis and a little bit above on the z-axis, right? And just increase the strength to about 161 is what I settled on it. So this is just to give a little bit light at the front of the object, right? So and then the last thing we'll do is we'll set up a camera in a scene and just press Control Alt and 0 to snap your camera to the object, and just select a view that you think is gonna display the object best. Also, before you render it, just make sure that you're going to your render settings and going to color management and just changing the look from none to very high contrast. This is just gonna give it a little bit more of that cinematic look that just brings a little bit more detail into your scene, right? And apart from that, I just want to leave you with this tip that this modifier stack that you have created can be applied to any object that is there, right? So like for example, if I go ahead and add torus in our scene, let's move it a little bit on the x-axis, and then we'll select the torus and select the object that we just created and click on Control L, and then we can just simply go ahead and copy modifiers, hit Control L again, copy animation data, and once again link material. And there we go. This entire modifier stack is now copied over to your torus. So it's as simple as that, right? And since you guys hung around till the end, I'm going to leave you guys with a bonus tip, right? Whenever you're rendering such processing heavy renders, right? Just make sure that you go ahead and disable your modifiers in your viewport before you actually start rendering it, right? So if you go ahead and disable it, just disabling, this is the option that you want to go ahead and select, that is real time. Just disable all of this, and also if possible switch to wireframe mode. What happens is whenever you're rendering, right, it also goes ahead and runs your frames in the background for your object as well. So once it is disabled, it's just a little bit more or a little bit less tasking on your computer, and it just makes sure that it focuses all its processing power on the render that it's doing, right? So just make sure that you go ahead and do that. It's just a bonus tip for you guys in case you want to use it. Now, yes, I did use the same method that I showed you earlier and copied these modifiers on some different objects, which you can see on your screen right now. They just looks amazing. So I believe that this tutorial was helpful for you guys, and if it was, and if you liked it, just don't forget to drop a like and subscribe to the channel. And if you guys want to learn more about modifiers, you can just simply go ahead and click on the bottom left of your screen right now. And if you want to see more abstract arts like these, you can just click on the top left of your screen. And yeah, thank you so much for hanging out so far. I'll see you guys in the next video.